The title of the story is Do You Believe? Two young girls, Lucy and Lina, were best friends who spent a great deal of time together. Once upon a time, when Lucy was spending the night at Lina's house, they decided to tell ghost stories. Lucy told a story she heard from her older brother about how, if someone passes through the cemetery at night and try to talk to the tombstone, the person buried there will reach out, grab you, and pull you into the grave. Graveyard, don't disturb them. Willie and Billy were ghost hunters. They would visit old cemeteries and see if they could stir up a spirit from an old tombstone. They set up their recorder on a particularly large and ornate headstone and prepared to begin. They were afraid to shine their flashlights on the stone to see the name engraved there, as trespassing in the cemetery at night was illegal. They had crawled over the fence at the rear of the cemetery to avoid the caretaker. Willie flipped the on button on the recorder and said aloud, "We would like to speak to whoever lies beneath this stone." In response, all they heard was the scratching noise that seemed to come from behind the tombstone. With a calm voice, Billy said, "Please tell us your name." Again, the only response was a scratching noise. So Billy said, "We only wish to speak with you. Please show yourself." Suddenly, both young men felt the air turn cold, and a tall, dark shadow rose from behind the tombstone. The shadow moved to engulf them. Willie and Billy had many encounters with spirits and were not afraid. Too late, they both realized the apparition meant them harm. The shadow swept down, engulfing them, and pulled them into the ground beneath the tombstone. The next morning, the caretaker of the cemetery found the recorder on the ground by the tombstone. He turned it on, and after each question, he heard the following response. When Willie and Billy asked, "We would like to speak to whoever lies beneath this stone," the response was, "Yes, I am here." When they asked, "Please tell us your name," the response was, "My name is never spoken by the living." They asked, "We only wish to speak with you. Please show yourself." The answer was, If I show myself, it will be the last thing you will ever see. I got you both. By hearing this, the caretaker was convinced that his belief about the existence of spirits in the graveyard is true. So, he quietly picked up the recorder. Knowing he had the only evidence that someone had been in the cemetery, and by that tombstone, he went to his tool shed and tossed the recorder into a pile with many others. Lina did not believe the story. Lucy also agreed, but said she was afraid to try it even if it was a story. Lina exclaimed, "I'm not afraid. I would try it." Lucy called Lina's bluff, daring her to go to the cemetery down the road and prove that she was not afraid. Both girls went to the kitchen downstairs, where they found a flashlight and a knife to be stabbed into the grave as a proof of visiting the graveyard. Lucy decided her idea was silly and begged Lina not to go, but Lina wanted to prove the story was a hoax and that she was not afraid. Off she went into the dark night. Lucy sat at the kitchen table waiting for her friend. 15 minutes passed, then 20. Finally, after 30 minutes, Lucy ran to Lina's parents' bedroom. Woke them up and told them what had happened. Lucy cried in Lina's mother's arms as her father grabbed a flashlight and headed towards the cemetery. When he returned, he was pale and shaken. In a solemn voice, he told Lucy and Lina's mother what he had found. There, on a grave, Lina was dead. The police were called, and after listening to Lucy's explanation of why Lina was in the graveyard, the investigation determined the death was accidental. When Lina stabbed the knife into the grave, it went through the hem of her nightgown. Thinking she had been grabbed by the person buried there, she died of fright.